Hello. I hear my kids up there arguing with each other about something. That's always good. But I'm going to let that go. I'm going to let it go. So, good afternoon. I have not been live on this group all week, and I feel like I definitely need to do that. I'm going to go kill some of the light coming in that window. Hold on. Oh, that's better. Softly bright. So, hi. All right, I apologize for not being terribly available this week. I am currently planning several big events that I'm very excited about for me personally and for my company. I've also had some personal events going on in the last couple of days here. And that just kind of took some time, and that's all. So, hey, Nicole. So I'm going to give people a little bit of time to get on here, and I want to ask you first, have you guys noticed like a weird vibe in the air since maybe 4th of July? I feel like people are kind of on edge, and I know there's a lot going on in the world, and a lot going on in our country, and maybe that is the underlying feeling going on. Do you think there's a lot of that feeling going on, and maybe that's why things are kind of volatile? I kind of feel like people are on edge, and people are not giving out a lot of grace over this past week or so. And it's been really hard for me to watch. I've seen even some of my closest friends that and mentors that I confide in and talk to seem very short, just really impatient and unable to see past the negativity. And that's been really interesting for me to watch. I don't tend to talk, and I'm not going to, so don't tune out, about the political atmosphere going on around me on social media. I do talk to my family and friends about it. I do have important conversations with my kids. I do share my opinions and my concerns with my friends, and I do reach out to people that I feel need to be reached out to in tough situations. But I do it personally because I think one thing that happens with social media is that we can reply, or we can take things just the way that they weren't intended to be. People kind of read into things. Well, thanks, Kirsty. I'm not feeling my prettiest today, but thank you. So this morning, I want to just tell you what spurred this post this morning that I wrote. It was actually on my personal page, and I'm going to share it in here in a little while. But here's what spurred it this morning. So I woke up, and I had an event this morning at an old folks' home. We had such a nice time. It was a breakfast. Ladies' breakfast at this home. The kind of old folks' homes where they have like apartments and assisted living, and then they have like skilled nursing, all in the same facility. So depending on your needs is where you go when you live there. And so all of the ladies have a luncheon once a month. And I was asked several months ago to come in and just talk about Limelight a little bit. And one of the ladies a lady that worked there was a friend of mine, and was like, hey, I think these ladies would really love hearing about this. So I had to get up a little earlier than normal to get ready for that. And as I was, kind of crawling out of bed and checking my social media, checking my messages, I saw several people. There was a little bit of complaining going on. So it was like the kind of complaining, though, that sometimes people say things to you and you respond in a way that, based on what you feel like their intentions were, rather than clarifying intentions or trying to figure out what somebody might have meant by saying something to you. And a couple of people took that to social media and was like, gosh, can you believe this person said this to me? And I'm not talking about things that are funny or ironic at all. And in fact, I just hope I'm not taken wrong here. So anyway, I thought, I wonder if we all just one day took out what we assumed people's intentions were, and we pretended like people weren't out to get us. Sometimes we read things or hear things and think, oh, she must want me to fail. Or, he is such a jerk. I can't believe he said that to me. Or, whatever that response tends to be. Do you know what I'm talking about? We all do it. It's very human. So, but I thought, what if for one day we stopped assuming the world was out to get us? And what if for one day we just made the assumption that people were inherently good? I believe that people are inherently good. And what if for one day we responded to the things that people said in a way that we didn't assume they were trying to hurt our feelings, or we didn't assume that they were trying to start drama, or we didn't assume that they were trying to be disrespectful? What if we just assumed for one day that if we felt that way, it was a misunderstanding or a miscommunication? What if we responded in a way that asked for clarification instead of asked for justice? What if we responded in a way that was peaceful and asked the question instead of just pointing fingers and saying, you hurt me, or you disrespected me? What if we just asked for a little bit of grace? And I really when I wrote this post this morning, I didn't have any, I was half asleep, can I tell you? I didn't have any intentions for anyone to read that and say, wow, thank you for saying that. But they did, and I thought that was great. So I just said that I challenge you for one day to seek out the positive in everything, even when things seem very negative, to find the positive, because we all know there is something positive in every negative situation. Even the most negative of situations can have a silver lining. What if we assumed, what if we made assumptions that only accuse people of good for one day? What if for one day, when we question somebody's intentions, we did it with their best interest at heart as well as ours? And what if we imagined that people were good? What if we responded as if no one meant to hurt our feelings, no one meant to disrespect us, and no one meant to start drama? What if that was our response to people for one day? And I have too, Karen. And I hate when people think that I have hurt them as well. And I have. I tend to be a very direct and blunt person. I don't necessarily mean to. And I do a lot of soul searching when I respond to people, because I understand how impactful words can be. And I also understand that not everybody wants to be talked to the way that I can tend to be, very direct. Anyway, I just wondered if we responded to everyone that way for one day, how we would feel at the end of that day. And I am just as guilty as the next person of making bad decisions when it comes to responding to people. So I've definitely been making a bit of a better effort today to assume the best and to see how that's changing. I feel like you would be a lot more peaceful. Um, well, being truthful is helpful too. um, anyway, I appreciate it. I've had many people have shared that and responded and messaged me, and it's honestly, it's probably one of the few things that has gotten me emotional, when I feel like I've broken through to somebody to make them give somebody a little bit of grace, give somebody else a little bit of grace. That really speaks to my heart a little bit. So anyway, I just wanted to talk about that kind of positivity, to try for a day and see how you feel at the end of the day when your spouse gets home and you're not like, oh, can you believe what so-and-so said to me? The nerve. I mean, when your spouse got home for the day, or when you see each other at the end of the day, or when you get home, however that works. I have a rogue hair that you were positive about your day and positive about the way that people treated you. Even when you do feel a little bit wronged, if you tried to find the positive and respond in that way first. Because don't you think that for the most part, people don't go around contemplating how they can hurt another person? I know that happens. I'm not stupid. I know that happens, and I know there's evil in the world, and we've been reminded in the last week how evil the world can really be. And I'll tell you, as a parent, looking at all of this that's going on in the world, I'm at a loss for how to respond to my kids. And I think everybody deserves that same kind of grace that you would give to a kid, to anybody, to just try to be understanding. I'm seeing people argue over things this last week that it's just very sad. So let's try to find some good and some positivity in our worlds today. I think it will make a huge impact on your life. I think we all need to take a deep, deep breath. It's a train reaction, and their negative response is a reaction to how they've been treated. Oh my gosh, it so is. You feel wronged, and so that chain reaction is to, re-deliver that negative feeling and back to the person that made you feel that way to begin with. And if we stopped seeking vengeance and started seeking understanding, can you imagine how much better that would be? There's a lot of calls for justice in this world right now, and I talk about focus all the time, and I see so many people focusing on negative things. I see so many people focusing on the negative things that are going on in the world right now, and while I don't think they should be ignored, if we put our positive thinking into the good parts that are happening, into making the change or being the change, or being the voice of reason, I mean, that's the direction that your life will go, and that your heart will go, and that your inner peace will feel, and sleeping at night will come easily, and much easier anyway, I hope, for everybody. But it's just, sometimes we don't all need to be heard on every subject, and we should absorb what people are saying and just try to live by example. We need to love and share the positives. I think the negative is focused on too much. I so agree with you, Jody, that people do focus so much on negative aspects of the world and their lives and what's going on around them. And when you are so focused on the negative, that's all you can think about, and it consumes you. Somebody posted, and I hope it was somebody in here. I think it actually was Ray Alina today, posted something about what if we were obsessed about the good things in us instead of being obsessed about the few negative things. And that really, really spoke to me. And let me tell you something kind of personal. So I am in a, let's see, I don't want to say this in a way that makes, over the last year or so, I've gained a significant amount of weight, and I'm pretty uncomfortable in my own skin, and have had, but I'm pretty positive about those kind of things. I definitely understand where I'm at and where I've been and where I should be going, and I try to remain very positive about that. So I'm not in a really negative headspace. But I had been very fearful about meeting people because I thought, oh my gosh, they're going to like so judge me and be like, geez, Kendra, what happened to you? And there was a time that I finally took a step back and I realized that the people that I love the most, I could care less what they looked like. I could care less how much they weighed. I could care less how much they weighed last year compared to this year. That I cared about their happiness. I cared about their success. I cared about everything else about them than that. And I came to the realization that I need not focus on that about me either, and nobody else was. And I've had a really good peace about that since then, and giving myself some grace, and you know, working on it a little bit every day, and taking better care of myself, and you know, just being a little bit better in tune to what I need to do for me rather than what everybody else thinks. And it's just, it really does create a little bit of a peace for yourself. So try that too. So anyway, I don't think I'm going to stay on here any longer. I hope if you read that post on my personal wall today, I hope it spoke to you. I hope you'll give it a second read and give yourself a little bit of an opportunity to respond to things a little bit more positive today. And then I hope today turns into tomorrow and the next day, and a domino effect happens for you all, because I really truly wish for you all to have just that peace inside of yourself, to not feel like the world is after you or trying to get you or trying to burn you. Because for every person that you may feel that way about, you have an army of people that feel much differently and want nothing more than for you to succeed. So focus on that instead. Thanks so much, guys. I'll see you later.